Boom. Welcome to episode 3 of the Neuro Bros Show with Russ Parker and Karl Sterling. Good morning. It's Monday, the 15th of February, and we're glad to be here. And we're glad to have you here, whoever decides to be watching or watch later. Yeah, we've been having some fun with this. How you doing, Russ?
Doing good. Doing good.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Good. Me too. As long as I'm sitting down and talking, I'm okay. As soon as I get up and move, the whole world spins. But that's another story I don't want to dwell on. Post-COVID neuro symptoms, having them checked out. But we're going to go a little bit of stream of consciousness today, folks, although we do have a few items we'd like to share in particular. We'll also be going less than 1 hour. We'll be done by before 11 because I have to be done before 11. Plus, we just want to keep, as Russ was saying the other day to me privately, I think it's a great idea to keep these a little shorter and more digestible. Because, you get into 90 minutes, I love it. And it's easy to go that, but it's hard as a listener sometimes to make the time. And
I got some tools to keep us in line. Here's one.
All right.
Or how about this?
Yep. There you go.
That could be our theme.
Yeah. Until we get snagged by Warner Brothers or something.
Yeah, I told you I'm playing around with that. If anybody knows the best strategies for playing as long as possible with either Facebook or YouTube, wiping out any music you use in your videos. Seems like Facebook does it quicker than YouTube. I've had YouTube videos stay around a while.
Me too. It's interesting, about a week ago, we'll get to some meat and potatoes here soon, folks, but right now, just relax for a second. But the workshop you and I did in Markham, Ontario in November 2019, just maybe not even a month ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I got flagged on Facebook that a video from that workshop over a year ago had a portion of it muted now because of the Paul Simon song. It took them a long time, while others will take like 5 minutes and they snag you. I don't know how their algorithms work. YouTube usually grabs me right away. So if you ever are watching, folks, and you see that there's music, but you can't hear it, well, that's because we had music on the live event, and then it got canned by the. We're not trying to steal anything. We're just trying to help people. So they'll block it out if they don't like it. So, Russ was talking about before we went live things we can do to maybe generate a little energy and help us ourselves to. This would be any of us. Of course, we talk a lot about Parkinson's in this program. Things that you can do to get yourself jump started in the morning. I'll just show you one thing that I've been doing, and I'm hoping that it's helping with these post-COVID symptoms, and I can't really tell, but it's the skin brush. I've had this darn brush probably 25 years, and I've probably used it for 6 months out of that, with the last 3 or 4 weeks being part of the 6 months overall. But you know what? That brushing starting at the foot, all the skin, always brushing towards the heart before I get in the shower. And the shower is a really great wake up for me. And I don't take long showers, but it's good for me. I just get in, I get woken up, boom. This wakes me up even more. And then I get a shower and I'm double awake. So in my case, with some odd things going on right now in my body, I'm hoping this generates some lymphatic flow, but it certainly is a good wake up call. And Russ, you had stuff you were showing me. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was saying to myself, sometimes I get up in the morning way before I take my med, and I come downstairs and I do stuff. And then I'm walking moving around for a while. Then I finally get like frustrated. I said, okay, it's time to try to loosen up a little, do some stretching or whatever. So I said to myself, why don't I do stuff before I even get out of the bedroom? So before I pop out of bed, I usually do need a chest hug, that stretch where you pull your knees up and you
Yeah.
kind of like hugging your knees, stretch out my back a little bit. Then I get up and I have one of these hypervolt massagers,
Well, yeah.
which you could set on. You could either set it on pulsing like jackhammer type thing, and
Mm-hmm.
or you put up to high speed and it vibrates real fast. So when I put it up on the high speed, it's a more finer vibration. So I gently, just like massage, like all over my body, and especially like the bottom of my feet. I use it. Last session, I think we talked about using the vibrating ball on your feet, but this worked too. And then I did a few stretches, and I came downstairs, and I felt much like I was moving around, much better than I normally do. First thing
That's
in the
great,
morning.
man.
Gave me a little bit of a. I think just the massage loosens things up, but the vibration also stimulates your nervous system, so kind of gets things going.
Totally. So, um, what were you telling me before we went live about vibration, a study at Stanford? You know of one, right?
Someone just shared with me a. I'm not sure exactly when this study started. I think maybe it's been going on for a couple of years. It's just using some vibration technology. I've seen, and I don't even know what, based on the video I saw. I have to go to the research to see what kind of device they're using, but they're using some sort of vibration technology, and they put people through therapy for a couple of months. And the one example they showed was, a guy who's had an extreme shuffle walk, Parkinson's shuffle kind of walk, and then he went through this therapy, and now he's walking normally.
Mm-hmm.
And they even said he got back his sense of smell, things like that. So it's interesting. Um,
I wonder if that's because it.
Vibrotactile. Oh, that's right. I remember what they call it. The technology is vibrotactile. Um,
All right.
my brother-in-law is a chiropractor, and he uses something called neurotactile
Mm-hmm.
stimulation. Basically, with instead of like a massage or like adjustments, it's like just gentle, like feathery kind of motions, and I guess that it has like a similar effect as like the vibration gives you kind of like a tingling kind of a effect and wakes up the nervous system.
That stuff is so fascinating. That sounds like possibly some of that Eastern therapeutic stuff, meaning Asian from Asia. Evan Chait. I don't know if you know Dr. Evan Chait. He's in well, somewhere in New Jersey and northern Jersey. That's where I first met Perry Nicholson when I went down there to interview him. And I also met Evan because that was the facility we used to do the interview. But Evan did some of that real soft feathering stuff on me. I couldn't believe the way it turned on muscles, or it could turn them off too. There's a whole turning off and turning on thing of muscles, muscle testing. But it generated flow and
Mhm.
sensory input. So yeah, it's interesting. I've been doing a lot of research and following. Oh, by the way, Leon, brother Leon, como está? I haven't seen you in forever, man. I heard you're rehabilitating houses now. Our mutual friend Andy told me. Hope you're doing well, man. Leon's a friend from maybe 30 years ago, and he's a funny guy, man. Like fun. Make me laugh so hard, man. My face hurt, and so did my abs too. Hopefully, after COVID, we get to hang out a little. Um, so let's see. Stanford's doing some really cool stuff, especially in the realm of neuroplasticity, and not just the brain changing itself, but the nervous system. Teaching the brain and nervous system, which of course nervous systems as a continual loop, no beginning and no end, to learn. And it's making me. I don't have a presentation for you today on this for anybody, but I do have kind of a teaser for what will come in our education down the road. And vibrations, one of the things that can wake us up so we have more sensory input. Skin brushing, I mean, it's real. You brush, you're going to get input to the brain. Does it change anything? No, it doesn't change anything at all, but it does wake stuff up. um And you look at, he was talking about the lower motor neurons, which are primarily in the spinal column, and then the central nervous system. Of course, coming from the brain stem and the brain are the commanding thoughts to control our actions in the central nervous system. So lower motor neurons, which he says aren't the brightest neurons in the box, because it has to come from the upper neurons in the is it the not the frontal cortex? You know what? It doesn't matter. It's in the top of the brain. Those upper neurons are the command center, and other areas in the brain too. They command the lower ones what to do through the central nervous system, and then these axons reach out from those neurons to our peripheral nervous system, and those neurons in the peripheral attach to our muscles. So, like he says, there's no such, and we knew this anyways. There's no such thing as muscle memory. I try to tell people this, they don't want to believe me. Muscles are stupid. They don't know anything. They're just cells of muscle. They're muscle fibers.
You don't get confused either.
No, thank you. Thank you. You cannot confuse a muscle, but you can confuse the nerves that attach to them. It has nothing to do with the muscle itself. But you only confuse those if you do things that confuse them. Like, real simple example. And now for some people, this might be a no-brainer. For others, I just want to say, for example, you're at the gym. Oh, let's say you're not at the gym. Let's say you're just anywhere, you're doing push-ups. And maybe you can do to failure 20 push-ups, whatever it is, 10, 50, 1,000, doesn't matter. When you get to those last 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're working really, 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 really hard and you're failing and you can't do another one, your muscles, well, they might get stronger, but your nervous system and your brain, nothing changes because all you did was something you know how to do. You just worked hard at it. But if you want to learn to do a different type of movement and then maybe have an error involved, and this is where like this training comes in, that you have to pay attention and direct your thoughts and your attention to self-adaptive directing our thoughts. How do your feet feel right now? It's touching the ground. Well, you weren't thinking of it 10 seconds ago. If I think about it, well, now I know. But I wasn't thinking about it until I just used this example. So you can direct your attention. That's an example of directing attention. But let's say you're doing push-ups a different way. Maybe it's on a stability ball. Well, that's not going to change too much in you, but it is going to change some stuff because you now have to engage all kinds of neurons, all kinds of brain cells, nervous system cells to adapt, to create the ability to tell the muscles how to stabilize. So it's a super unbelievably simple example of neuroplasticity, but that would be one way. When you get up and take a walk, there's a good chance for most of us, you walk. You don't think about every step. If you did, you wouldn't be able to do anything else. You'd be exhausted. But if walking's a problem, well, we can start to direct our attention towards symmetrical stride length, posture, arm swing. Then you're engaging the neurons, the lower neurons, which are commanded by the higher neurons, upper neurons. And so I just want to, it's really the process of making mistakes and maybe almost falling a lot in that case of jumping or whatever. So I that's about all I can say about it right now, because otherwise I'll probably confuse people knowing what I mean and not saying it the way I mean it or the way I want to. So it's interesting though, man. The stuff about how the nervous system works is really fascinating.
Yeah, I think sometimes one thing they may not cover is kind of the when it comes to like Parkinson's, is it's a brain disease, and you talk about getting more dopamine or encouraging neuroplasticity, but just the whole kind of like system of the brain talking to the muscles, and that there is a deficiency in that system. And I kind of equate it to almost kind of like, you have you have your power plant, like it's like the brain, and it's sending down like signals to the muscles, and it sometimes the signal is, could be weak because lack of dopamine or whatever, or your body just gets desensitized. So that's why some of these techniques we talk about where we're waking up the nervous system helps. So I think sometimes there's a strong relationship in the way you move and how you can improve it, not just by improving the brain and stimulating the nervous system, but kind of like fixing the muscles due to, whether it's inactivity or the way they've been hampered by Parkinson's disease, kind of fixing certain areas to kind of make that whole, like that's like the wiring to make kind of like the signal like a little stronger. So in other words, if you're having like back pain and it's hard to move already because of Parkinson's,
Mhm.
and you have, and you're like pinching on the sciatic nerve and things like that, fixing things like that, it might be, and it depends on the person, but addressing things like that might make a person move much better and see much more improvement than they thought they would get because they have Parkinson's. So they're so focused on that.
Mhm.
So somebody has a severe back problem, they also have Parkinson's. They address the back problem in traditional strength training, physical therapy ways. Who knows? It might be moving a lot better. And now you haven't really done anything Parkinson specific. You just kind of like
True.
reactivating an area that's been weakened.
Well, true. Yeah, absolutely. And it just got me thinking of another thing. It's, how I always say that really ridiculous thing like people with Parkinson's are people too. Parkinson's may not be the only issue that they're dealing with. Could be tight muscles that were tight anyways before. Could be cancer, hip replacement. Who knows? Asthma,
Yeah.
cancer. I mean, it's just like any of it, diabetes, neuropathy. But Parkinson's does any of these movement disorders or neurological disorders and other things, maybe even post-COVID symptoms, can exacerbate existing issues
Yeah,
and make them
there's that
worse.
whole thing, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And I say, who cares? Like, are you having a problem because of the Parkinson's? Or did you have that problem independently? Or,
Yeah.
did it come on at some later stage? Or did you have it? And that was one of the things that helped trigger Parkinson's. Who cares? You got the diagnosis, you got the diagnosis, you have Parkinson's, you have other problems, and you deal with all of them. So we're both kind of going on a soapbox a little bit here, but and people have heard this before, but one of the things you hear sometimes from the healthcare medical community is you report a problem and they say, well, you have Parkinson's. And like the translation, which really annoys me sometimes, is that, well, this is, you have this problem because you have Parkinson's, and basically I'm not going to dive into this any deeper. Like say you have lack of energy.
Mhm.
Well, that goes with the territory of people with Parkinson's. That doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. There might be a multitude of reasons why you have lack of energy. Don't assume it's all just Parkinson's and you can't do anything about it. Nutrition and all
Well,
those
right.
things.
Plus, when people get moving, a lot of times they get the energy to keep moving,
Sure.
no matter Parkinson's or not. I talk about it all the time.
Right.
I didn't feel like moving this morning, and then I just got up and said, I got to start doing stuff. And I struggled for a few minutes, and then I had energy. So even though I was dizzy because the world was spinning, but that's another issue. It just felt too good to do anything. Um, movement we talk about, we're going to beat this one over the head every episode, probably for at least a minute, is movement creates hormones, chemicals that feed your brain and your nervous system, and they keep it healthy. It won't necessarily change your brain or your nervous system, but it will feed it, and it's necessary, and it helps to feed it what it needs to maintain uh, better health, nervous system, and brain, because it's really all the same thing. I'm learning it's really the same. It's all, of course, we know it's all connected, but that's why I get Beatrice, ¿cómo está? Hola. Let's see. Donde vive? No recuerdo. Beatrice is in a group that I was doing some things with. I hope you're okay. I think she might be in Argentina. I'm not sure. So, uh, let's talk about. Do you have anything more on vibration that you wanted to say?
Vibration. I don't know if I have anything more on vibration. No, just I've started, studying. I had mentioned to you that I got the Barefoot Strong book by Dr. Emily Schlick, our friend, um, and she talks about in Barefoot. She talks about vibration, and it's not always through like some device or whatever. It's just a natural, I guess, part of our nervous system. There's a certain level of vibration in our body.
Well, yeah,
So
like the ground reaction forces, the surface you're on,
yeah,
will
yeah.
cause you through vibration upon impact. Well, through the ground reaction forces upon impact, you'll pick up a certain vibration just from the surface below you. So of course, the pavement outside is a much higher frequency than the hardwood floor,
Hmm.
or the dirt outside is a lower frequency than both of those. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, we talked about how I talked about barefoot a little bit last episode and how important it is.
Hmm.
And could add to that, related to that, barefoot, the concept basically we're talking about is your feet are usually touching the ground. So the ground itself is another thing. So where you could bring about more awareness. Get down on the ground, lay on your belly or on your back like a baby, roll over,
Yeah,
start getting up and go through a progression that a baby would go through, like starting to crawl, where they're first learning to push up with their arms, and see what muscles you're moving, feel how you're reacting to the ground, and then crawl over to the steps and kind of pick yourself up like a baby would do, and into a standing stance. And another ground reaction force that goes on too when you're doing exercises and movements on the ground. And it's good to raise that awareness too, moving slow. Does it really
totally,
help?
totally. I was just looking here because what's really, really cool for me is watching my granddaughter,
Uh,
who's getting up on her arms now. She's not up on all fours yet, but she's able to roll over. Now, right now, she's fascinated in those lights and in the
yeah, I see
mirror.
you got her doing cognitive training, huh? You even
She,
get the
she
baby doing
she's
it.
watching the lights, and she's a little over 3 months old, but she's getting real strong, and she's going into that extended position, face down, where you send your back and your neck. She was real wobbly a month ago, and now she's not so wobbly. She's bringing that knee up. I think it's her left one she tends to bring up to the side, where she's like almost ready to start to push up, and I don't know when, but at some point I'll post video of her actually getting up on all fours, because that's a big deal, man. That's just,
Yeah.
it's so cool to be able to watch that primal foundational development that really is good for all of us to do, just like you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Farias, who's an expert on dystonia, had one of his clients. There's YouTube's videos on this.
Hmm.
One of the exercises he had her do was this position where she'd repetitively get up from the ground and then walk, and get down back on the ground, get up from the ground and walk, kind of like progressively. And it just to raise the body awareness of like all movements from the ground up. It was pretty cool.
It
This
is.
woman was this woman was a dancer, and she was in bad shape when she came to Dr. Farias. He's from Toronto, um,
That's cool.
and he had her dancing by the end of however long it took her to go through this therapy, but she was almost wheelchair bound.
Wow. You know, there's a gentleman, I'll see him today on Zoom. He and his son, it too. I train this father son team. And he doesn't have any diagnosis or anything. He's just 87 and wanting to keep moving well. He's doing extremely well. and his son is too. His son's like my age, around 60. And just last week, we started doing the first 4 steps of the fall matrix out of 12 steps. You get down from standing, lay on your back, get up, get down, stomach up, then down the left side up, down right side up. So I think today or maybe Thursday we might graduate to the next step, which is, you
Hand
remember
up.
that one? Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll show you this one at
I
some
was just
point,
watching
folks.
Dr. Perry recently going through that whole matrix.
Yeah, and it's a really good way to just a good way to develop strength. I mean, we'll go over that because that whole thing is what I did in Mexico. The first time I was there, I didn't know what to do after a speech. I'm like, ah. So we just did the floor is your friend. What if you fall down? And we worked it up though, from being able to roll over both ways, front to back, back to front, and then up in all fours, then pulling yourself up, or crawling first, then pulling up, and then getting up. But we also pretended we broke an arm. Oh no, my right arm's broken. So we had people taking their arms and going like this in their shirts, right? So now you have 3 limbs, and it's the same thing. You can't use the right arm to go down or come up. That is a nice strength builder, I got to tell you.
Yeah, getting up from the ground is great strength exercise. And another good exercise is, these are like kind of like exercise snacking hacks. Exercise snacking is something I like to talk a lot about. It's just basically doing small bouts of exercise during the day and also incorporating them into your life. But sitting on the floor, watching TV, sitting on the floor instead of sitting in a chair, and then say maybe getting up every commercial or whatever, is an exercise in 2 ways. The getting up and down creates exercise, but also when you sit on the floor, you can't really sit in one position, much more than, a minute, and then you have
I
to
can't.
shift.
That's for
So it
sure.
almost acts like a little bit like a flexibility exercise,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to move, you have to move your hips and your legs and or whatever around, support yourself with your arms sometimes, whatever you do to get comfortable.
Yes. Lisa's watching. Hello, Lisa.
Oh, I've been, as we're having these shows, so I make notes of things that we do and don't talk about. We haven't talked about crossing the midline yet. That's how important that is. We'll get to that one day, I guess. And rotations, crossing the midline and rotations.
Yeah, today is a less scripted out show for those watching. We had general ideas of talking about things like I already showed, but people come and go, and that's totally cool because this is always available later. I brush up, start the feet, all the skin, all towards the heart. Then here I'm going this way towards the heart. I even brush, my head because over here it feels good, and my arm always up towards the heart. And I'll tell you, that's a great wake up call. Great sensory input, wakes up a lot of stuff. Then I get in the shower and I wake up even more. Russ was talking about vibration. Well, so you mentioned earlier, what are the things, and for those who don't know, in case you don't know, Russ is a personal trainer. He also lives with Parkinson's. So, um, what were you telling me earlier you started doing before you even get out of your bedroom?
Oh, just some stretches and some vibration stuff. I do a knee to chest stretch, and then I take my hypervolt massager, my ray
Mhm.
gun,
Yeah, yeah.
and I massage with vibration just basically all over my body, and make sure I don't push down too hard. So this is not like a massage to get knots out. It's just kind of like to stimulate the nervous system, and then get the bottom of my feet. And that's sometimes that really tickles, but I know I'm waking up the nerves, and that really helps. Um, there's little there's a lot of little hacks out there to help you just move better, make your joints feel better. Another one is that I really like is friction massages. So basically, you could do so in this area here. You just take a lot of times, and most of the friction massages I do, I use like this part of my hand.
Hmm.
You
Oh,
rub on
good
your
idea.
collarbone and on your shoulder, and that in this case with these friction massages, they work best actually on the joint, because what it's doing is, in your joints you have the ligaments and tendons. There's not a lot of blood flow that goes through those. So if
Right.
you get on the joint and the bone, there's like a lot of, there's a lot of ligaments around there, and it gets the blood flow going and it helps your joints move more freely. So if you do that, the whole thing, and you go down and you do that around your knees, around your kneecap and your hips and your ankles, if you like, before you do that, do like some toe touches and maybe a few squats, and then do that friction massage.
Mhm.
And go do your elbows too. Do that friction massage, and then do those movements again. And even just from doing that, you might feel like you're moving a little better. So all these little hacks that you could do during the day, just sitting or standing around, could help you move better, to kind of keep you in motion.
You know, that just prompted something. Did you ever do any? I don't know how to say it. I'm not sure. Qigong.
Yes, a little, yeah, a little bit. It's kind of, there's several things that carry over in to lymph health there, because there's like a lot of bouncing, which is good for the lymph
Mhm.
and things like that.
I
Um,
did. I went through a session of that with Dr. Evan Chait in New Jersey on a subsequent visit to that first time I told you about with Perry Nicholston, and uh, it was really interesting. But I don't know what was going on, but my head was not in the space for it. I just couldn't wrap. I think I had to catch a plane to London or something, and I had to get out of there, and I was totally preoccupied with my typical phobia of airports. And it started. It always starts hours earlier, and I felt bad, so I need to learn more about that.
yeah, there's a
Adriana
lot of
Silva Mendoza, ¿cómo está mi amiga? I hope you're doing well. Um, Adriana is in Chetumal, Mexico. She's an amazing lady. She lives with Parkinson. She's doing so much for the community all over the world, really. Do you know Adriana? I mean, online, have you met
yeah,
her?
yeah.
Yeah, she is amazing. I'm sorry, you were going to say something, I
Oh,
think.
I don't. No, we talking about qigong, and I was just saying there's a lot of these like kind of like slapping kind of movements, which again is
Yeah.
similar to the um, lymphatic massage, that kind of stuff. If you want, we could talk a little bit about, continue and talk a little bit about pain.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
I came across a couple of things in the neck area, and if I could share that with neck, a
Please.
couple
Yeah,
of things I
please
learned
do.
about neck pain. One of the things we were going to talk about, um, and maybe we won't have time today because maybe we'll leave enough time to talk about a whole list of things in this area, is the vestibular system, which is
Mm,
um, ties into balance, and there's some movement exercises that you could do that help reset your vestibular system. But there's also like eye movement things that
yeah.
also tie into your balance. How well your eyes work affects your balance, which of course is an issue with people with Parkinson's. So one of the things I learned was that, and I think this was Dr. Perry I learned this from, was that your eyes can affect your neck. So if you have poor eye muscle control, and I want to look over to the side, and my eyes aren't doing the work, I start making my neck do more work than it would need to if my eye muscles were healthier. So one thing you could do with that is you could do exercise where you look side to side, but make sure you lead with your eyes first. Go as far
Mm,
as you can with your eyes, and then move your head. So you go back and forth, but try to lead with your eyes and turn. Or if you're doing a torso stretch, same kind of thing.
mhm.
Um, but another quick hack, and I've been doing that, and that seemed to help diminish my neck pain. But another quick hack that I learned, and this was from Dr. Perry, was a couple of areas to massage. And this goes to the point of people work sometimes directly on the area of pain, and sometimes the pain is not real. The source of the pain or the area that you want to work on really isn't actually where the pain is at. So sometimes you got to work on where it ain't. So a couple of nice massages, and these seem to affect. It's kind of good for headaches too, but this affects your neck. Is right where you feel where the bone meets up here,
Mm,
your jawbone,
mhm.
where the joint is right up here, right underneath there. If you massage that side to side a little bit, and then drag it down hard, And then the area above the bone, same thing. Massage it this way, and then up and down, really kind of rip into there. If it's tender, you'll feel it. Work both sides. And this could impact, even though it's not like right on your neck, this could actually impact how your neck feels.
Yeah.
Works for some people, doesn't work for others, but generally it feels good though. That's a tender area.
It
And
does
which is
feel good.
understandable, especially if you're having stress. I know sometimes when I have stress, my jaw feels a little on the tight side.
I think all those cranial nerves that go from tongue, mouth, jaw to brain, and how that can affect everything else too. And that's something that's definitely not my area at this point. Brian, the gentleman who talks about breathing, Brian somebody, I think.
Oh, Brian Mirabelle, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the cranial nerve thing down, man. And then Simone Linder also, who well, they know each other really well. They were both at that Barefoot Summit. Actually,
Hey,
Simone still works for
can I share
the.
one more? Can I share one more eye thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a share screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let
me give you control here.
Let me see. Okay, yeah.
There you go. All panelists. You should be able to share now.
Okay, documents. Let's see. We're gonna find the document thing. I think I have a folder for vestibular. Okay, this is the.
Well,
Yeah.
Russ is finding this, folks. Just so you know, we're going about 15 more minutes, and then we'll be done. Today's a little bit of just generalized talk and conversation. If you have any questions, though, put them in the comments because I'm watching the feed on Facebook.
Okay, let me see if I do share screen. Whiteboard.
There we go. I see it. Mm-hmm.
See that chart?
Mm-hmm. I see a menu there. Okay.
You see the A with the.
I see a no, I see the menu. Did the chart open maybe in a separate window?
Yeah, maybe. So now, what can I do on this to share it? Or
If you
just
can
close out the other windows, maybe?
drag your cursor down to share screen, that little green box, and then it should give you options of what's open on your desktop, and then click on the chart. There it is. Got it.
Okay, you got the red A up there. It's taking up a decent amount of the screen.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's good.
So what you could do with this is start looking at the A and keep on looking at the A. Let's go look. You're going to move your head down, but your eyes are going to stay on the A. So move your head down on the vertical line. Slowly. Keep your eye on the A. Keep your eye on the A until you get to the bottom of the box. Keep your eye on the A and then move up. Go to the vertical line looking up. Keep your eye on the A, move your head up. You're moving your head up, but not your eyes. Your eyes are staying on the A. Bring it back, your head back down. Keep looking at the A. Now go to the right. Keep your eye on the A. You move your head. You're moving your head. Remember, not your eyes. I got to remember to do this too. This is not easy. Move back towards the A again. Move your head.
Sometimes the most simple things are not easy.
Keep your eye on the A and now move to the other direction.
Lisa wonders where we can get this chart.
Come back. Yeah, we can post this chart on the Neuro Bros page.
Lisa, are you in the Neuro Bros Show Facebook group? Because if you're not, I'll add you, and we'll put it in there, or I can just send it to
you. And then you do the same thing for the ones that go up on an angle. So
yeah. So the closer you have this to your face, the more movement is going to be required, right? Is there a recommended distance from nose to paper?
Good question.
But I like it even at the distance I'm at now. If I just go all the way up, right?
Yeah.
There's a thing that I got.
Maybe about 4 feet away or something, 3 feet away or something is good. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, you're probably only like 2 feet away, right?
Yeah, about Lisa, I'm going to add you right now. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm
But
going to
anyway,
add.
we didn't go through all of them. I just want to give you the idea, and we'll share this on the page today.
Speaking of visual, I have something I'd like to share right now. This comes directly from Stanford. So as soon as I add Lisa, which I'm doing right this minute, I'm sending an invite, and let's
Oh, you could do
see.
that exercise, by the way. You could also just keep your head straight ahead and then move your eyes across the line. So you could do it both ways.
Okay, Lisa, it is done and sent. So please accept the invitation, and then will you post this chart in there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so here's another thing, and I'm gonna go like I'm gonna try to articulate this in a way that makes sense. We have 10 minutes left. I'll go into more detail another time. I'm just not ready yet. So there's some really cool stuff we learned 3 years ago from Deanna Cordova. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I learned it there. I don't know about you. I'd
Yeah.
never seen it until then, and it came from Z Health, and it was that thing with the pencil push up and all this, and then doing the chart, and that's one way to maybe reset and do some. Oh, cool. Okay, we're gonna talk to Lisa in a second. So that's cool because I'm a drummer. So, anyways, just so that reset the eyes, rapid movement back and forth is something that can help to reset however it works. I have no idea. All I know is it can really help with visual, eye movements and a lot of things. So here's something that came out of, I think it was Carla Schatz, but I'm not sure. She's a neuroscience person that she's been all over the place. She's a genius, Harvard, Berkeley. Now she's back at Stanford, and it might not be her, but it doesn't matter who it is. There's a thing that she talks about if you're getting nervous about something. Now, I've been trying this, okay, because lately, just because of the post-COVID symptoms I'm having, I get really nervous before they do any testing in my doctor's office. It's ridiculous because all they're doing is something. Then I'll find out something or nothing, and then I'm still alive. So what's wrong with me? But if and when I fly again, I'm sure I will, I have a serious problem with airports, really bad. And so I'm going to do this before I go in the airport. Uh, this will accomplish at least two things in most cases. What it is this: if you look at my eyes, gotta move this. I'm just doing this lateral, not up and down, only lateral, back and forth. Okay. Okay. That's the move. How long? Long as you can. But don't make yourself dizzy. Don't make yourself nauseous. I never get nauseous. I don't even know what it feels like, but I do get dizzy a lot. Now, this actually has helped a little bit with the dizziness I'm feeling, but it's definitely not fixing the problem. But when they talk about this, and I'm going to go over this today when I see my doctor, is I want to know, first of all, what's going on post COVID wise with me. If we can figure it out, there might be some testing and imaging that I'm pretty sure has to be done. But COVID aside, this can help to usually help us to move better. Because it emulates. They talk about if you're moving out, especially outside, your eyes kind of have to move because even if it's not a lot, because you've got to make sure you're not tripping and falling and stuff like that. So this can help with smoothing out movement to a degree. But the one thing that I'm totally ADD today, man. I'm sorry. The confusion's been a real issue for me too, and I'll forget what I'm talking about. My friend Andrew is on. Andy, how you doing, man? Yeah, he knows. I forget what I'm talking about mid sentence, and then have to say, "Hey, what were we talking about?" Um, Fear. This can be somehow magically, and I have no evidence, no explanation. There's evidence, but no explanation because I don't know enough to present yet. But what I do know is I can tell you that that movement, right, 30 seconds, maybe that's all you need, a couple times maybe, can help. And I did it the last time I went to the doctor. I felt better when I went in. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know what? I'm willing to try stuff that is out of the norm as
Mhm.
we know it, or who defines norm. I don't know. I'm willing to try this stuff because I think 95% of anything I ever worried about never happened anyways. And worrying is, I'm a natural born worrier. I'm a lot better these days, though, a lot. But a quality of life, man. I'm a quality of life seeker, better quality of life. So the eyes are powerful,
Mhm.
and we barely scratch the surface on anything.
I could see how if you don't have, good muscle control in your eyes and you don't have a wide field of vision, you don't have good peripheral vision, I can understand how that could relate to fear. Just imagine walking down a city street and then all of a sudden somebody makes you wear blinders.
Mm.
You don't know what, there's all sorts of activity going on. Now you don't know, now you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go past you? You know, you have a smaller view of the world. There's a lot going on in the world. And you lose some proprioception, when you're walking, you wanna
Yeah.
be able to
Visual is a
know
sensory
what's
input.
around you.
That's an input for us. That's an input.
But I
Um,
mean, one thing you could just do even when you're just practicing posture or a balance thing is kind of just looking straight ahead. And first you could just maybe focus on an object straight ahead, but then try to look out further and expand your field of vision. And then do things where you're turning your head from side to side, or as I mentioned before, move your eyes first. See how far your eyes could go. Pretend you're turn a little bit like this. Pretend you're in a car and you want to try to look behind you
mhm.
at your rear windshield instead of using a mirror. See how far you could go with your eyes, and then help a little bit with your torso. Things like that. You can even make up your own exercises, apply them to real life, like I just said with the car thing or whatever. It makes something else up. Walking
Totally.
down the street or driving your car as you're passing things, trying to pick up on things quickly. If you're sitting as a passenger in a car, or even as a driver, this isn't that dangerous. You're driving, you could look at road signs the car is going by, and actually just looking straight ahead. Try to look out of the side of your eye and try to actually read the street sign
Mhm.
as you're passing. That's another little thing you could do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to go back. By the way, I appreciate that, Russ. We should do just something on vision for a whole episode
Yeah,
because there's so
there's a
much
lot
to it.
in that
We can
area.
show a lot. I can show more than I said here, and I know you have a lot too. But in the interest of time, and also I have somebody coming to pick me up to take me to the doctor because I don't think driving is a good idea for me today. I'm not sure. In fact, if I move my eyes to do anything, if I'm sitting, I'm kind of okay. But if I'm moving and it comes and goes, it's not like an hour ago, it wasn't bad. And then 10 minutes after that, it got overwhelmingly bad. And right now it's in the middle of that. I don't know. Bottom line is, I don't know what the bottom line is. Elisa, so she says, I've been enjoying using some drumming sequences. Can you offer resources or other patterns to try out, especially hard to do with syncopated rhythms? Thank you. So my question, Lisa, would be, what sequences are you using, like a metronome or a sequencer, or are you just generating rhythms and sequences on your own? And any of that's cool because there's so much you can do. As a matter of fact, this won't answer your question, but I will say this. If you just want to know the science behind rhythm and music changing the brain and activity in the brain, it's a little pricey, 50, 55 bucks, but this is a Bible to me. Neurologic Handbook for Music Therapy. Another one I just got actually from a friend of mine at Berkeley College of Music. Uh, the beat, the body, and the brain. Okay, so don't. Well, you get it, but maybe get it though after I share some stuff with you from it. The beat, the body, and the brain. It's really called World Fusion Drumming, but the original title when it was released by a different publisher was the beat, the body, and the brain, and how they're all connected. Um, oh, okay. She wants to add more difficulties to some of my previous demos. Okay. I'm trying to find here's what I'm working on. And I have a couple people lined up to work on this with me. It has to do with rhythm and movement. It also has to do with music and movement. Just trying to figure out what pathway we want to take because there are things out there. I don't know what they are. I don't know the names, but I've seen some different programs. Nothing is bad. Okay. It's all good. And I do have a tendency to overcomplicate pretty much everything in my whole life, which means that what I deliver when it comes to the program I'm trying to write around the idea of rhythm slash music and movement and the brain, I needed to have enough science behind it where we know it's really solid. And also, though, that I can succinctly articulate in the simplest ways what you're going after and then do it and then what to expect, how to make adjustments, progressions, regressions. Not there yet. But if you want to private message me or have a conversation, I'd be more than happy to. Because, I'm sure I'd learn a lot from you because I only know what I know. Sometimes I think it's not that much. Like, sometimes it's like, do I actually know anything? So now I just took a turn down self deprecation boulevard. But hey, it's the way it goes sometimes. We can have fun on our show and I can make fun of myself. And I'm okay with that.
I can do that. I do it all the time.
We got to close out I'm going to go maybe 2 more minutes. Russ, I want to turn it over to you.
Well, we don't have that much time. You want me to? I could. I read a poem. I have lots of these poems. I could read one of these poems.
Please do. Yeah.
This one's a short one.
Okay.
Simple. I just titled it "Never."
Okay.
Never stop learning. Never stop trying. Never stop moving. Never stop caring. Never stop loving. Never stop smiling. Never stop believing. Never stop enjoying the wonders of life. Never give up.
That is short and that is really sweet, man. All highly relevant, so important.
And we kept this under an hour.
We did. So, I knew today was going to be the way it is, meaning not like a highly planned out episode, but sometimes it's nice to just talk. We had a few things that we knew we'd share and we did. So, Russ, you and I can talk and I'll try to plan more thoroughly for some and maybe less thoroughly for others. But thank you, Lisa. So you guys are so great and so resourceful. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Well, Russ is the one.
No, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be such a geek with this stuff.
Hey, we're in the geeks.
Actually, when I enjoy something, yeah,
We have our own geek squad. You and me,
get pretty
man.
geeky.
We are our own geek squad, and I love it.
But if you have topics that you uncovered, and or
Thank you, yes.
it could be personally specific. I have this problem, blah blah blah. What can I, I've tried this. What else could I do? But what we're trying to bring to everyone is kind of like these think outside the box type things. We know what's covered a lot with Parkinson's, so that's why we're going to talk about vision, and we're going to talk about the lymphatic system. We want to do maybe something on corrective exercise, which is basically,
yeah,
balances and posture problems and how to fix them, how to foam roll, enhanced ways of doing myofascial release in addition to just rolling on a foam roller and all those things.
Yes, absolutely. So this will be an ongoing thing. We'll never run out of material. I can promise you that. Um, so, all right. Again, yeah, what you said, I'm so glad you said it because I meant to say it. Of course, I forgot, which is if you have questions, you can put them in the comments here, or probably at this point, because we're going to sign off, direct message one of us or both of us and tell us. And then we will talk and we'll plan out future topics, future episodes. All right, my friend Russ, you're the man.
Peace out.
And
Have a good
everyone,
one,
thanks.
everybody. See you next
Thanks so
time.
much. Yeah. Have a great day, everyone. And uh, we'll talk about when next. Is Thursday good for you?
Well, yeah, I'll let you know. I have to check. I don't
Okay,
know
we'll
if I have
post
any
later
conflicts.
today. We'll post the next day and time. Okay, probably again this week, maybe Thursday at 10, but don't mark my words yet on that, but we're going to work on it. I'll post
Okey-doke.
later. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Russ.
Alrighty, adios.
All right. See y'all later. Keep moving and
That's
stay
right.
positive and test negative. Over and out.
Over and out.